Wonder Woman issue 12, Brian Azzarello writing with I've got the wrong artist down here.
It's Cliff Chang.
It's Cliff Chang, yes. I still had whoever did like 2 issues ago written down. So 28 Kins or whatever his name is. So yes, issue 12 here. So that's the second trade done. If we're going by trades here, this is the end of the second trade.
Was the Zero issue in the third trade then?
Yes, because I read the trade, so yes was the last issue.
Okay, fair enough.
So it must be, if it's in any of them, even.
Yeah, and the only reason I know the Zero issue's next is because it's after every issue 12 of this period of the New 52.
That is true. I hated those theme months because it was like everything just stopped for whatever gimmick they had. Oh, it was so annoying. Anyway, yes. So Wonder Woman issue 12. We left off last time with the big cliffhanger. Wonder Woman's in heaven, there to fight Olympus. Thank you. There to fight Apollo and everyone else.
Artemis mainly,
yeah, sure. But like Apollo's the one taking the throne and all the rest of it. So this issue's a big action issue yet again, which is funny because typically what I've said in the last like 4 or 5 issues is that I'm not in love with this run. I've made that very clear. Probably from about issue 3 or 4, it's kind of dipped for me, and I'm just not super into it. But the one thing that's been really good at is the action, and when it tends to focus on that, I tend to enjoy the issue more. Now, I'm not going to, and this is not leading up to me saying the action this is bad. I'm not saying that at all.
Have you got a little bit numb to it?
Yeah. Maybe it's that. Maybe it's just the fact that I feel like the action in this, it felt so seeped into so many characters talking to each other about what was going on that the action, instead of being like a really simple premise where, okay, you've got these characters in a fight in this location, they're doing cool things, the fight's really intense. Instead of that, there was a lot of dialogue in between because they're constantly doing their all of they're talking about who's living, who's dying, who's becoming God, who's getting the throne, who's whatever.
Who's becoming God?
Who's talking, who's taking Zola, blah, blah, blah. I have to admit, I found this issue kind of... I don't want to say it was a short read because it's still a fairly quick read because, you know, the art and the writing.
There are multiple pages where there are like 1 or 2 word boxes and that's it, and it's just action. But so it definitely doesn't read as slow as some other things you could be choosing. Yeah.
However, this issue, despite the fact that it was a lot of action, it was still simultaneously everything I don't really like about the run that much.
I get that. I think personally I found it quite an exhilarating issue because I was into it. This is very much the conclusion to... I mean, the second trade, sure, but it's more if anything, the first arc, I would say, really.
Mm.
This feels like the payoff to the stuff that we've been building since issue 1 with rescuing Zola, and for me, who's been into that stuff, this was really up there in terms of the issues that we've had of this book. For me, it felt like it really tied together a lot of elements. We had various gods and stuff that had been woven through our various issues really coming together at the forefront here, and their relationships being utilized in a way that was set up really nicely throughout the previous 11 issues for me. And it's just accented by the fantastic art that makes some of the particular beats, Diana's beats, main beat in particular, with the gauntlets, is one of my favorite moments of this book so far, I think.
Where she takes them off too, because she's going to fight Artemis and she's like, these belong to you. So the idea being that they're actually a weakness if she's fighting Artemis.
Yeah, the idea that Artemis, they're your best defense, and she's like, no, they were more restraints, cuffs, I think is the word she uses. And she's just unfiltered from that point. And the next page is a phenomenal page of her beating the shit out of Artemis, with this gorgeously red background throughout it all.
Yeah, I have to admit, I love that page.
Really? I think that's one of the best pages so far.
It's not as poorly drawn by any means. It's just, compared to some of the fights that have been in this issue, I don't feel the fight here. Like, I feel like this should have been more of a difficult fight to win it, but it feels like she just comes in and like dominates her, and it's like nothing It just, I don't know, like it didn't sell me on how difficult it would be beat a fighter, so I didn't really feel the actual triumph of doing so, if that makes sense.
Fair enough. The only word I can use to describe reading that page for me would be exhilarating, I would say. The flow and the pacing of the fight, the way it builds, for me is excellent. And like I say, and then you have Apollo cut them off at the end, just as she's won, she's got defeated, and I feel that interruption in the pacing, in a very intentional way.
Okay. I don't have anything.
No?
I mean, it all builds up. Zola's water's broken. Diana makes a deal with Apollo for him not to come after the baby, and he basically agrees to this. However, if this baby does end up being the one that the prophecy's about, who'll slay the god to take the throne, then like Diana herself will have to kill it. We actually get to see if she agrees to that, but given that she comes back and she's not getting chased.
The assumption is that she did.
Yes.
Right?
I would agree with that. But Zola's in giving birth, the others are outside, and then the twist here at the end of this issue, the end of the arc as you put it, after 12 issues, is that Hermes pulls a heel turn and steals the baby. He's delivering the baby for a start, and then he just disappears with it. And
I mean, it makes me go, well, he is the god of thieves, so not that surprising, really.
Yeah, and we see him take it to
Demeter.
Demeter, yes, I was looking for it there. The weird poison ivy knockoff. And then as a final page tease,
Goddess of the Harvest that was introduced last issue.
No, I remember. Yes.
Yeah. Just giving her the respect that she deserved. That it's not just poison ivy knockoff.
And I remembered her being the poison ivy knockoff, which is why I'm calling her that again. The final page teases. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is this teasing Orion?
It is, yes. We're doing New God stuff for the next part of the book, which
interesting.
I remember being very exciting.
Now, can I just say, I complained last issue that once again, Zola getting kidnapped, right? This issue ended with, the baby got kidnapped. Can we do can we go 2 issues without either Zola or a baby getting kidnapped, please?
Sure, I get that appeal. You might want that.
I'm just sick of it.
No, I get it. I think this one works for me in that it's a very different kidnapping. It is ultimately boils down to someone got kidnapped. But I think it's the shock of the thing they've been trying to protect the whole time got kidnapped by someone they thought was an ally. That kind of makes it land for me. I mean,
I get the heel turn aspect of it. It's just, I feel like we've done this a bunch of times now. So much of this book up until now has been trying to retrieve someone from a god of some kind or a whatever. It's been that over and over again.
Yeah, no arguing with that. I'm not really going to defend it. Not really. I think it's a very valid criticism to have.
I want someone to go back and actually count how many times someone's been kidnapped, and because Wonder Woman even herself was technically kidnapped by Hades.
Hades, yeah.
So
no, it's fair because I've made this complaint in other things. There's a season of Doctor Who where every single episode ends with the cliffhanger of they're about to die, and I got so annoyed, because it's fine, I know that they're not really going to die, and it's fine. You can pull that cliffhanger every so often with me knowing that, and it's still okay to do, right? Mm-hmm. But when it was every episode for 6 in a row, I got angry. I got angry when it ended on that again. So I get the feeling. I really do.
This has to be at least the 4th kidnapping in 12 issues.
We've had at least Zola twice, the baby, and Wonder Woman once.
Yeah, so this has to be at least the 4th.
At least 4th, yeah.
4 out of 12 is
pretty high. Yeah,
that's a pretty high occurrence. So I will be making this a thing when we read more issues of this. If there's any more kidnappings,
kidnap counter.
There's going to be a kidnap counter. I want someone to go back and just confirm that that's the only 4. If there was more, then I want to know.
I mean, I don't explicitly remember anymore, but I can't say for sure that there wasn't.
This is like when you're watching the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and you have to keep track of how many times Giles gets knocked out over the course of the show, because it's a lot.
Oh God, if that was a drinking game.
There's a Giles knockout counter. The man gets knocked out a lot in that show. Anyway, what are you giving Wonder Woman issue 12?
I'm going to give it an 8.5. I think it's a fantastic ending to the arc. It teases the the New God stuff really nicely. That final panel in particular with the boom of the boom tube is gorgeous. So yeah, I'm into it.
Cool. I hope I like it more than this past bunch of stuff. Maybe if we're getting to New God stuff, I might like it more. So, for me, this was like a, I don't know, 5.5 maybe.
Fair enough. I think we've got the Zero issue. I think that is unrelated to the New God stuff. Although I could be wrong. I don't remember it.
I'll be honest. I forgot we'd have to do a Zero issue. I forgot that was going to be a thing.
What was the one after Zero? Was it Villains next?
I think it was Villains, yeah. And then it was like the Future one after that, maybe?
Yeah, that sounds about right. And I don't know, because obviously the Zero issues were very much, every book Zero issue was pretty relevant, right? It was always the same team, same writer, so it was, okay, you kind of had to read it. It was always included in the trades.
Some of the books had like 4 Villains issues, and some of them were completely irrelevant to
some books had like 2 villain issues, but neither of them were written by the main team and were actually relevant to the book. So I don't remember, in regards to Wonder Woman, if any of them were relevant. I feel like it had one relevant issue, but it'll be a complete surprise to me as to which villain it was at the time, because I don't remember at all.